Shama Sawant calls out AOC. Oops. And it's a beautiful thing. So let's start here with this tweet. This is just the recent call out because we can remember she also called her out and actually called for DSA to uh what is it called? Excommunicator. I forget the zoning out on the word to kick her out of DSA. I guess I'll just say that. So this is the latest one here, and it's about forced to vote. And if you're on Twitter, you've already seen this, but Case Study QB put out the video of AOC's Instagram where she's kind of, I think it's a live stream, and she's talking to her fans or her audience. And she kind of goes off the rails. Anyway, she posts this, or Case Study QB posts this, and shout out to Case Study. And Shama obviously watches it, and this is her response. Working people as AOC, I'll make this slightly larger. Working people as AOC, why didn't you and Squad use force to vote? The right wing Freedom Caucus did. AOC's response: if we were to fight for something, we'd cause relational harm with the Democratic establishment. So we don't fight for anything. And that's spot on. And let's continue because she further, she quote tweeted herself. So let's bring up the second tweet here. Bring it into the screen. She quote tweets herself and says this: AOC recently claimed she couldn't fight against Democratic leadership on behalf of workers because it would cause relational harm with those party leaders. What about the vast and very real harm taking place in the absence of such a fight for working class people? And that's one of the first questions I'm going to zero in on, or we want to zero in on. Because this is the question that essentially those that are to the left of the progressive Democrat Jacobin DSA type, we're to the left of those people on a lot of things, and this is our point that we make. You're a politician, so the incoming you're taking is part of the job of being politician. The incoming violence that regular people are taking is not part of the job, or shouldn't be part of the job of the government, but it is. So what about the vast and very real harm taking place in the absence of such a fight for working class people? Let's see, Palestinians. We see every day. There's a few accounts that the main RBN account on Twitter retweets, and there's literally like 3 or 4 videos and that's not even all the videos they have of just the brutality of what's happening there. So in the absence of that fight, we have that. In the absence of that fight, we have Yemen. In the absence of that fight, we have Senate parliamentarians taking away the opportunity for $15 minimum wage. So these are all the things that this question sort of alludes to. Is what about the vast and very real harm taking place in the absence of such a fight for working class people? And we're seeing it even in inflation, where you have eggs. I saw somewhere I had a picture. Eggs are at $11.99, but wages are at $7.99. I should bring that up, but no, I don't want to mess up the presentation here. But yeah, it was still making $7.25, but eggs, you got to work more than an hour just to get a dozen eggs, or maybe that was an 18 pack. So in the absence of the fight or the lack of the fight from AOC, the Squad, Progressives, Rokana, Pramila Jayapal, Mark Pocan, all of them are those things. And then, I mean, homeless population going up. And understand, we were talked about this yesterday during the RBN Live. Homelessness, unhoused, is not having a physical house. But the homeless population could probably, it would be a lot larger if they included people who have to live with relatives, where you have a roof, but you are still without a house. You are still homeless. So the term homeless is more of an umbrella where you're not able to afford your own place, but you're staying with somebody, so you're not unhoused. And then we have unhoused people. I kind of think that's an umbrella term. But anyway, I don't want to sidetrack the conversation. So now let me go to a couple of things here from Shama. And hopefully we'll have her back on soon. She's somebody that's busy doing work in the community. So, you know, we admire that and we encourage her to doing that. And that takes precedent, of course, of doing interviews. So what now I want to do is kind of go to a couple of her just speaking, where we can kind of see the difference. And I think this is the first one here. Let's start with this video. Let's hope that Twitter's not acting up today, because it does sometimes. Let's start here and listen to what she says here.
Trying to do something for the people that they represent, ordinary people, working people, the marginalized. But the catch is in the question of how are they actually going to challenge the democratic establishment. And I think in terms of what you said about people pushing back against us, saying, well, now is not the right time, there'll be another bite at the apple. Well, remember what they were saying when we were arguing, that when a section of the left was saying, yes, absolutely, there is an opportunity, instead of just voting for Pelosi as speaker, actually the Squad should withhold the vote and use it as a moment to build real pressure for Medicare for all. But what we said, and at least what Socialist Alternative said, was that it's not just as some sort of drama, or sort of meaningless political theater, but to actually use the force the vote tactic in the context of helping to build mass rallies and conferences around Medicare for all. But at that time, AOC and also sections of DSA, they said that, well, this is not the moment to use your political capital. And in fact, I remember AOC in her response to force the vote, and I think she genuinely meant this. She said, instead of this, we should fight for something winnable, which is $15 an hour. Well, here we are talking about $15 an hour. And again, Biden, Harris, Schumer, Pelosi, all the stalwarts, big business stalwarts of the party, are throwing excuse after excuse. It's the parliamentarian, it's the rules, it's the decorum, it's Joe Manchin. So I think what we have to point to is sort of the endless logic of making excuses for the democratic establishment. So today it's this excuse, tomorrow it's another excuse. Yesterday it was Medicare for all, today it's $15 an hour. This is a failed strategy. I think that's what we need to point out. It's not so much about whether AOC is genuine or not. The question is the strategy of not being willing to go into open combat against the establishment, is that working or not? And it's clearly not working. And of course, right now we are talking about what the Squad should do. And I hope they're having a meeting right now about how they're going to withhold their vote and reject the gaslighting against them that they are somehow holding anything up. They are not holding anything up. It's big business Democrats and the Republicans who are holding things up for anything for working people. And I hope that they're having that strategy discussion this weekend. And no doubt millions of people.
Now, the benefit of history and hindsight is that we can now say, when she says she hopes in this video, because this is a year or so ago, we can now say, no, they've been proven to be failures at every point. So again, put your personal critiques of AOC, the dress, all that stuff aside. Drill down to the basic point, and that is the strategy working? Is the strategy of being nice, trying to get committee assignments and all of that, is that working for them? That's the question. And that's what Shama is saying here. Now let's go to the another video I have. Where is it? Another video where she also makes a great point just to show the contrast between an AOC and a Shama. So here, oh, this is a tweet I just wanted to show. This is back from May of last year, May of last year. And this is me. Always putting Bernie and AOC to shame. Shama's approach is the future. So that was me even then, but let me show you why, and let's zero in on what she writes here. And make it this a little larger for you to see. As a worker representative, I take only the average worker's wage. The rest after taxes of my 146,000 city council member salary goes into a solidarity fund for labor and social movements. I just donated 20,000 from this fund to Amazon Labor for the union struggle at Amazon. Wow. That was a fake funny joke, but I don't want to get off sidetrack. So again, so that's my tweet from a while back, and now let's look at another video here. And then I think we might be able to wrap here. So let's listen to this one.
Party's leadership is not on the side of working people. So, yes, you are going to be in conflict with them. There is no space, there's no universe where you can be at peace with the power brokers of the establishment and yet win victories for working people. Such a thing is not going to happen. If you want to win victories for working people, you are going to have to take on.
Think about the logic and what she just said, and think about the logic of what they're trying to sell us. That they're going to be at peace with the powers that be and somehow get what you want. That's what they're selling us. Why wouldn't it have already happened then? And I'll rewind it so you can catch the point again. Uh-oh. When you go back, sometimes it does that. I'll just refresh and hope that Twitter's not acting up, but we shall see. All right, so let's see if it's working again and get back into this discussion here.
Not on the side of working people. So, yes, you are going to be in conflict with them. There is no space, there's no universe where you can be at peace with the power brokers of the establishment and yet win victories for working people. Such a thing is not going to happen. If you want to win victories for working people, you are going to have to take on that conflict. As long as our leaders on the left believe that it is about parliamentary arithmetic and insider tactics, it is going to be a death knell for the movement. We are not going to win Medicare for all by an insider strategy where you think your political capital depends on whether or not Nancy Pelosi is happy with you. Well, Nancy Pelosi is never going to be happy with you if you're going to fight for working people, because Nancy Pelosi is not on the side of working people. It's as simple as that.
And that last point she makes is the point. Like, you think Nancy Pelosi is... How can Nancy Pelosi please the people who are literally pouring in millions upon top of millions of dollars and do Medicare for all? How is that supposed to work?